Singapore warned China. China laughed. Who is laughing now? Let's rewind the clock. At the height of China's rise, when skyscrapers were shooting up faster than Western GDP growth, and everyone was busy learning Mandarin to prepare for the so called Chinese century, there was one man who didn't buy into the hype: Lee Kuan Yew, the founding father of modern Singapore, a man whose opinions world leaders took seriously. The West admired him, Beijing respected him, and more importantly, they feared he might be right. Because while the world was praising China's authoritarian efficiency, Lee Kuan Yew saw the cracks forming early, and he warned them. Lee Kuan Yew admired Deng Xiaoping. He saw Deng as a reformer, a visionary. But the China of today, the one ruled by Xi Jinping, Lee Kuan Yew feared where it was going. And he was right, because even before the Western media caught on, even before we started talking about ghost cities, debt bombs, and demographic collapse, Lee Kuan Yew saw the warning signs. So if you think China's fall from grace was a surprise, think again. Lee Kuan Yew once said that China must realize that it cannot continue to grow on the same basis indefinitely. Growth without political reform is unsustainable. He admired Deng Xiaoping not for building a surveillance state, but for opening up. Deng knew that China needed markets, incentives, and a less ideological government to lift its people out of poverty. But what did Xi Jinping do? He reversed that trajectory. He tightened control, purged reformers, and turned Deng's pragmatic legacy into a personality cult of fear and obedience. Lee Kuan Yew saw this coming. He knew that economic growth built on fear, censorship, and fake numbers would eventually plateau and then implode. Here's the irony. The CCP always viewed Singapore as a mini model to be studied, just not followed. Party officials visited Singapore regularly. They loved the city's clean streets, efficient governance, and dominance in global trade. But they made one fatal assumption. We can just copy the results without copying the system. Wrong. What made Singapore work wasn't just control. It was trust, rule of law, clean governance, professional meritocracy, a political elite that wasn't above the law. Singapore had a strong state, yes, but not a paranoid one, not one that had to censor its own population, purge its brightest minds, or imprison journalists to maintain control. China tried to imitate the surface while rejecting the substance. And that is why it's collapsing. Lee Kuan Yew never bought the hype. Yes, China was rising fast, but Lee Kuan Yew made it clear that this is not inevitable. I remember reading his interviews in the book Grandmaster's Insights on China. He said something that stuck with me. The Chinese themselves have no illusions. They know how far they still have to go. Lee wasn't fooled by GDP numbers. He saw the cracks beneath the surface: fragile financial system, state corruption, pollution, massive inequality, a brittle system with no accountability. In Lee Kuan Yew's mind, China wasn't on a rocket ship to greatness. It was on a tightrope, walking between greatness and implosion. And now, we're seeing exactly what he warned about. Lee Kuan Yew understood something most analysts still don't get. The Chinese Communist Party doesn't rule by consent. It rules by performance. You deliver prosperity, you get to stay in power. You fail, well, tough luck, comrade. That model works until the economy slows down. And Lee Kuan Yew predicted it would. He predicted that at some point, China must transition politically or face instability. And guess what? That time is now. Youth unemployment over 20%, housing market on life support, trust in the party collapsing faster than Evergrande's balance sheet. Lee Kuan Yew saw this coming because he understood that prosperity bought time but not royalty. Now, here is where Lee Kuan Yew really gets prophetic. He said that nationalism is the replacement for communist ideology in present-day China, but it's a dangerous drug. Look at what Xi is doing today, hyping the century of humiliation victimhood, demonizing the West, stirring up hate against Taiwan, Japan, America. Lee Kuan Yew warned this wouldn't end well, because once you feed your people rage as an identity, they demand enemies. And when the economy collapses, guess what? The party needs scapegoats. It's not Xi Jinping's fault, you see. It's the West's fault. It's Japan's fault. It's Taiwan's fault. Lee Kuan Yew knew where that road leads. War, chaos, and the death of rational governance. Next, demographics. Lee Kuan Yew correctly foresaw that the Chinese are growing old before they grow rich. That's not me talking. That's Lee Kuan Yew. He knew that one-child policy was a ticking time bomb. He warned about it over 20 years ago. And now, China's population is shrinking fast. The labor force is disappearing. The elderly are exploding in number. And there's no social safety net to catch them. This isn't just a demographic dip. It's a demographic death spiral. And Lee Kuan Yew saw it coming before most Chinese leaders even cared. Because he wasn't blinded by ideology. He looked at cold, hard data. And he saw a nation aging into irrelevance. Now, what about political reform? Lee Kuan Yew was a realist. He didn't expect China to become Sweden, but he believed China needed some political reform. Local democracy, judicial independence, checks and balances. Instead, Xi gave China the opposite. He dismantled term limits, purged his rivals, turned China into a one-man dictatorship. Lee warned about this kind of rigidity. He said, the danger with centralized power is that it blocks feedback, suppresses dissent, and builds a wall of lies. Sounds familiar? From GDP numbers to COVID cover-ups, from ghost cities to censored protests, Xi's China isn't built for truth. It's built for obedience. And in the long run, that's a recipe for disaster. Also, Lee Kuan Yew never romanticized the US-China relationship. He knew conflict was coming. Why? Because China doesn't want to join the US-led order. It wants to replace it. Right? The Chinese want to be accepted as China, not as an honorary member of the West. And that's why China is building alternatives. Belt and Road, the yuan settlement systems, the BRICS expansion, shadow internet platforms. Lee Kuan Yew's advice for the world: prepare, balance, deter. He believed in engaging China, but never trusting it blindly. He told the US to stay strong, maintain alliances, and never let China dominate Asia uncontested. This is where Lee Kuan Yew stands apart. He respected China. He believed in its people, its work ethic, its civilization. But he never feared it. He once said, quote, "You must have a counterweight to balance China. Otherwise, they will be tempted to flex their muscles." He warned the world, don't fall for the myth of Chinese invincibility. Don't let the Chinese propaganda fool you. Because underneath the skyscrapers and bullet trains, Lee Kuan Yew saw a system rotting from within. Lee Kuan Yew died in 2015. He didn't live to see what Xi's China has become. But if he were alive today, he wouldn't be surprised. He saw the collapse coming because he had the courage to tell hard truths. The same courage the CCP still fears. So the next time someone tells you that China is the future, remind them. Even China's smartest neighbor saw the fall coming, and he tried to warn us.